Welcome to Behind the Pint. In this podcast, we raise our glasses to resilience. I'm your host, Spicy, and together we'll explore stories of triumph, healing, and the strength found in vulnerability. Sometimes the most inspiring tales are brewed from the darkest moments. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome a good friend of mine to the show, George. Come on in, George. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just
Nice to
looking
see
at
you.
this and I'm like, is it 10 a.m. and I'm having a first beer? So
No,
thank
it's
you. I
10:45
feel
a.m.
good.
You're good.
Thank you. I'm happy. Thank you, Spicy. I'm happy and I'm blessed to be on your show, man. Thank you very much for I'm awake and we're living. So thank you.
Is it anything better than being awake and living? I mean, shit.
I don't think so. So
I
we're
don't
here
think so.
another
All right,
day.
let me tell the group a little bit about how we met. As everybody knows, I work in a pub, Porta Pints, where I get these. This is an agate ale that we sell there. It's beautiful, clear, crisp, delicious. George is drinking. What are you drinking from over there?
They call it the juicy pants.
Juicy
So
Pants. It's like a
pantalones jugosos. It's like a IPA, like a
little bit, huh?
little bit hazy, little lemony,
Yeah.
citrusy kind of tasting hazy, and it's good, really good.
The
Good,
citrus
good.
comes through so good in that.
Yeah.
Anyway, all that being said, time for a sip, and then we're gonna get going. Mm.
Time for a sip.
All right. Oh, George, you and I met at the pub. And then this movie came to town and we
That's
both
right.
got parts in it. We actually got speaking roles in it more than anybody else in town really got as far as extras go. And we kind of bonded over the movie. We started talking and we became friends.
That was a point of communication for sure. Like the whole idea of meeting and like someone that actually acts and you have your repertoire, and it was really interesting to hear the pictures and how to get it all started. So
It's a
you
lot of
were
fun.
the you were the pro and I was a rookie.
We all start somewhere. Dude, I've been the rookie so many times, it's not even funny.
That's funny.
But today, I don't want to talk about Spicy. I want to talk about George, aka DJ Options. Dude, I love the name. I love DJ Options. I think it's very unique. It's something you don't hear very often, like a creative DJ name. I like it.
Yeah, quick story.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was the one that came up with that name. I went through so many names from DJ Querendon to DJ White. I think it was somebody named me Silver Fox, and because of the white hair, so it was catchy, it was trendy, and but then we were having lunch with a few friends of mine, and as my girl and her were having a conversation because we're having literally sitting across from each other. I'm over here watching the TV and watching the fastest man run the 100-meter sprint, right? And so they're talking, having a great conversation, and I'm over here being airheaded, and I go, "Hey, babe, by the way, look, it's the fastest man in the world, right?" And so they're like, "Wait, George, did you just interrupt our conversation for you to tell me that the fastest man in the world is going to be running?" And I just said, "Well, it's again, I'm giving you options," and then they all started laughing.
I like that.
And from then on, my friend Trina was the one that said, "All right, Mr. DJ Options,"
And it works.
and it
You
worked.
kept it.
So
I love it.
I think I'm gonna keep it. Yeah,
So we haven't known each other. I mean, we've known each other for a couple of years, but we haven't really sat and got to know each other. And that's one of the reasons. Let me move this camera a little bit. That's one of the reasons that I wanted you on the show to kind of get to know you a little bit. Away from the bar, away from me taking food orders and all that shit. So first off, let's talk. Your name is George Gonzalez. How old are you, buddy?
I'm 46 currently, 46 years old. I will be
Okay.
47 in October.
October birthday. Halloweenish
October,
or before?
right before it, like 20 days
Right.
before Halloween.
Okay. All right. Where'd you grow up? Where were you born?
As far as I can remember, I was born in Michoacan, Mexico, which is
Mm,
a state of Mexico that borders the Pacific Ocean. I was born in a little town called Lázaro Cárdenas, which is a really well-known coastal town for the production of transporting of goods. They use that port millions of times a day. And I was raised in another little town about 5 hours away, which is a farmland in Apatzingan, also well-known little city. And then when I got 6 years old, it was my parents' decision to say, we're not going to live here anymore. We're going to go. So I don't remember much about how my dad got here, but he was here. My mom was back there, and then eventually through a farming program that they had back in 1980 in the 80s, we all got a grant to come separate times, but we eventually, for me, we didn't go through like the whole idea of like coming in, you know how they say legally or through the border and all that. We had to make efforts to get here, um,
Mm-hmm.
to where my dad was, and that's how it happened. As
Do you
far as
remember how you came across?
I remember, yeah, it was a quite an ordeal. I think the the first time, the biggest memory I have is in the middle of the night. There was a group of four dudes arguing with each other about who was going to take who.
Okay.
So at that point, I was like, okay, so you guys are talking about us. And I remember I was like 5, 6 years old, and they decided to split us up. So me and my brother and two cousins went in one car, while my mom and my younger brother and aunt went in another car. And from that moment, we didn't see my mom again, like for maybe a month and a half, maybe less. I could be wrong. And so our my trip was, we eventually became we caught up together so that we can come over across all of us. And back in the day, well, you had to risk it, and we did use a Coyote, a guy in the van. Unfortunately, the guy in the van, he couldn't get away from law enforcement. So, uh, believe it or not, it was four little kids under a van, the back seat of one of those big Ecoline vans. You know how they
Yeah.
have space and then just the seat in the back. Well, if you picture the seat in the back, there's a space under the seat. It was built like a compartment. We fit four kid bodies right there.
Oh
Me
my
and
God.
my brother and two cousins laying there, while you hear sirens and the van just like doing this thing and that. And then eventually my fondest memory is, or the biggest memory is, getting the door opening and the sun's in your face and you're a kid and you're like, what the hell's, I mean, I didn't speak English back then. I was a little Mexican kid, and I was like, "What's going on?" So yeah,
Yeah.
luckily my mom and my brother were in the front seat, and then again we got split up again but this time law enforcement took us here, and then they took us there. But because of the program, we figured out how to get us in first. So we had to
Mm-hmm.
go through another route, and we ended up for about a few days. Me and my brother and my two cousins, uh, we ended up hanging out with a, a family that owned a Winchell's donut shop,
Mm-hmm.
and
I remember
they
the
helped
Winkles.
us eventually. I think they were living out near like Fresno or Porterville. I don't remember the actual city, but I
Okay.
know it was down like near South California somewhere. And then eventually I ended up in 1985 with at my dad's house in Alviso, California, which is a little town in like central California near San Jose, Mountain View, and near Milpitas and that whole Bay Area. That's where we ended up. Me,
Oh,
my brother, and then eventually my little brother, Alex.
sure. So you're 6 when this is all happening, yeah?
Yep.
What's going through your head? Are you realizing that you guys are trying to get here for a better life to make things good, or are you not really coherent of why all this is going on? Why you're in the back of a van getting wrapped around?
Nope. I had no
What's going
idea.
on?
The only thing that, because they didn't tell us, oh, you guys are going to the state. No, back in the day, nobody tells kids, hey, we're going here, or we're going there. So we get picked up at my grandfather's ranch. Have a suitcase, and okay, we're leaving, and then it's a bus ride to the biggest town, like from the farm. And then I remember because uh, the next thing I know is that night argument with the two coyotes or whoever they were, friends or non-friends, deciding what groups were going to go where. And what's going through my mind is, where's my mom and where's my dad?
Mm,
That's
mhm.
like the biggest thing. No tears. It was just, you had to like just build some kind of, okay, we're here. None of them like meant any harm, because at the end of the day, the gentlemen that helped my dad were all like in, it was like a whole group thing. I think it was friends of friends and like different relatives. And so I think it wasn't too scary. I think the scariest part, or even if I was scared, was not knowing if I'm going to see my mom or my dad again, because we were literally, we were split up, and then I had to keep a close eye on my brother. So it
Jesus.
was yeah, if I think about it, those are the biggest memories. I can't forget them. They're just there
Of course
because
not.
they must have stamped.
Okay, so let's fast forward just a little bit. You get to the States, you guys get
Mhm.
settled in.
Yeah,
Um, English is not your first language. Did you
not
learn
yet.
in school, your parents, both?
We eventually started getting, into the mix of the families. We came to a town where there were other families, farming families, as well as us. So everybody had their, housekeepers and certain maintenance guys and painters and a family here. But it was all like Alviso, California is a small little town, and it had a little, they called it O'Neill's Camp. And it was literally all the houses for all the farming people. So the school was walking distance. And so
Okay.
when I started going to school here in the States, I had to start in second grade, not first.
Second grade. Okay.
Second grade, because I think I already had. They wanted me to go. They test you like your reading level.
Mhm.
So because I knew math and I knew the basics, they started me at a second grade level, and that's how I learned English, because every book that you had, it was in English on one page, but then the same thing in Spanish. So you were
Okay.
reading Spanish and English at the same time.
Good.
So I was
So that helped
learning.
a lot.
Oh, big time. I was
Big time.
speaking English by fourth grade. I was already managing, conversations with my adult, like parents or the manager or people that would call and ask for my parents, stuff like that.
Cool.
I was
Okay, so we're third, fourth, fifth grade. You good in school? You a good
uh,
student?
in in middle. I think I was maybe I'm gonna say a
B student? Okay. It's
B
not bad.
student, a couple A's, but I think now you're asking me, Anson, you're gonna put me on the spot. All right, all right. I think I
My
was an
job, baby.
annoying I was an annoying kid. I think I was, according to, I'm gonna maybe ask my mom again, but not an annoying ass kid, but I was really angsty.
Okay.
Like if someone, hey, I got in trouble one time in fourth grade because we used to remember those pull down maps. The teacher would pull it down so you can see a
Yeah.
map of like a social studies class or whatever. Class is over. I'm like, all right, cool, we're done. Can I help? And I went up, ran up to the map, and I pulled it down to get it, and I let go, and the thing just unhinged off the thing. It made a huge noise on the ground. I'm over there like me, Mr. Helpful, and what did I do? The teacher got so mad that she sent me. Yeah, she gave me a pink slip. Back in the day, was a "you're in trouble" sanction, like a
Uh-huh.
little pink slip, and they send you to that's Salviso right there. That's our
That's it.
house.
That's your
That's
house.
exactly,
Okay.
yep.
Who do we got on the
That's
table here? Which one's you?
I'm on the right, helping my brother hold the cake.
Okay, oh,
So
that's
I'm
you with the
on
bangs.
so I'm in the green shirt.
Okay. You look good.
Alex Alex is my little brother in the stripes, and then Robert would be in the blue shirt. The ones
He's the
the kids
baby.
sitting down. The
Okay.
baby's in the middle. That was his birthday that day.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, I think he just
Very good.
turned 2. But yeah,
Look at you. Look at you
that's
guys. You look happy.
yeah. Oh, it's because it was cake.
Oh, who's not happy about? I'm always happy about cake. Come on.
Yeah, it
Okay,
was.
so you go through the school, rambunctious a little bit, but that's to be expected. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
happens.
and
So,
the reason why in fifth grade, same thing. I think I don't remember what my teacher talked to my mom about, but I was assuming that's probably my grades, or maybe he's talkative, or he's this, he's that, and then I'm gonna have to call my mom if she remembers what the conversations were, or But yeah, I'm gonna have to rate myself and say I was a good student, but I think I wasn't a troublemaker. I didn't get into fights. I kind of stayed away from that, and no bullies back then. Not at least not
No,
yet.
not for you.
Actually, never mind. Yeah, I did. I got at an event. Here's that annoying kid again. There was a girl named Santa, a classmate of mine, and I was just you know twinkling her hair. It was just,
Hmm.
and she would say stop and stop, and finally she goes gets her cousin, and her cousin comes over and just clocks me right in the face. Bow!
What?
Stop leave my cousin alone. And then that kid he's probably got yeah he was a troublemaker. A guy named Johnny Macias. I remember his name still. Him and a taller kid named David Brown, trying to like taunt me. He's like, "What are you doing over here, man?" And then just clocks me right in the eye. Start crying, and then I just took off.
Your first fight.
It was my first fight and against
Your
two
first
guys.
fight.
So hey, I didn't back
Hey,
down.
that's that's more than I would do. I'd be running scared, baby. I'm not a tough guy at all, dude.
No,
You
I
know
have
me.
my
I'm a cook. I'm
yeah
not a
right.
tough guy. Okay, so we go through school. Let's go to high school. Girlfriends?
No,
Not a ladies'
I
man
was
at all?
super shy. I was a ladies' man, but I was super shy. Never had the guts to approach any female to say, "Hey." I never worked on it. I never. I mean, I was not that I was scared, but I think
Hmm.
I was mainly shy. I did have a crush, on a girl named Megan. That was like in my junior year. I even asked her to see if we can go to the prom, but she already had a date. So I think mainly the reason why I stuck to my schooling more was because of my parents. They're hardworking parents. I didn't want to let them down. I wanted to stick to, just go do your homework, make sure you get good grades, and stay out of trouble. And that was it. And so girls, for me, it was just it was a shy thing. I just didn't have the guts in me to approach. I did have female friends,
Hmm.
but the ones that I would kind of like start like having, like a conversation with, or hey, how's it going? I always kind of there were certain ones that I kind of grew fond of and try to like
Sure.
ask out, but it didn't work out. Shit, I even asked out a very very cute Japanese girl one time named Esther. She helped me in my AP physics class. She was a really smart girl, and I think to me, I think back in the day, it seemed like she liked helping me out, and
Hmm.
I took it upon myself one time. To go to her house, knock on her door, and ask her, I think, to go out. And her dad was just like, mm-mm. And she felt really bad, like, because you could see it in her face, like, oh, I'm sorry, George, I can't, I'm not
Oh,
allowed to date, I'm not this, I'm sorry. I even, I did the whole respect thing because I kind of like, okay, I didn't mean no disrespect, I'm sorry.
yeah.
And so it just high school. But
Mhm.
no, I'm batting zero in the girlfriend game for sure.
Okay. What about sports?
I did. I played soccer.
Okay.
Let's see. In high school, I did not make the team. I did make the squad as a ball boy. I was the like I was always there at practice. I even trained with the team, but the coach just never. Uh, I was a little chubbier, big gut, and so it was hard. It was to play high school soccer was hard, and then I didn't get into baseball or any other sport. Football, I tried it. I went out for the tryouts my freshman year, and then I got tackled. I had four big ass guys on top of me. I said, no, thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and go to work. So instead of doing my 2 days practices during the summer, I went and I got my first job as a custodian, earning
Oh,
$4.50 an hour.
wow. Where at?
I was at a the program was called Painter, and I worked at what's the name of that school?
But it was a school.
It was a school, and I've worked. My manager's name was Vern Johnson, really cool cat, and
Yeah.
he taught me a lot about like scrubbing and cleaning and chemicals, and so it made me a responsible kid for sure because it was it kind of gets you into that either you play sports or you go to work, and I think I chose to make money rather than get hurt playing
You know, of
football.
course. Is that you? Look at you.
Oh, no way. Is
Look at
that a
this
Raider
guy.
hat? Yeah, I'm wearing a Raider hat. Look at that, no hair.
Wow. No hair.
The story of that jacket, that's my brother's jacket. I asked my family, hey man, can you guys send me some pictures when I was young? And my sister sent me this one. He's like, hey, that's my jacket. I'm like, is it? Because I'm wearing it. So I think it was a hand me down from one person to another, and then eventually it ended up with me.
I got you. Are your parents still with us?
Yes, my they're
Very
actually
cool.
vacationing in Mexico as we speak. The land where
Oh,
I was
very good.
born, my dad is actually he built a house out there, and that's where they're hanging out currently. They're
Outstanding.
yeah,
So
he has a hometown.
they came over on the farmer amnesty program.
Hmm.
What are they, oh, is that your dad?
That's my dad right there.
Oh, look at
Wait,
that guy.
yeah,
All
that's
right.
where I'm
All
going
right.
right there. A few more years, I'm gonna be right there.
It's right there. Me too. I got no hair up top. I'm
That
getting out of
that
the get hair
picture right
game.
there is in Lathrop. It was so hot. It's like these were like 100-degree weather days. This is like maybe I'm gonna say about 6 years ago. Yeah,
Okay.
before COVID hit, I think I wasn't trying to be mean or nothing, but he was sitting there, just taking a seat because my dad had the reason why you see the cane is because he had my dad's been through 3 strokes,
Oh,
and the last one took one arm and his leg, so he can move him, but he can't move him. Like his arm is literally like. So anyway, that's why you see him there with the little cane, and I was just mimicking his stance. But
just
that's my
being
dad.
yourself. Are you guys really close?
Yeah,
Yeah.
me and my dad. Yeah, we eventually outgrew that whole negativeness about him drinking and not always being there for me as a dad and all of that bullshit and being mean to my mom. He never hit her, never been physical with her. I think my dad's drinking kind of made us develop a kind of like you're putting us on the side kind of thing, like the whole love thing and uh, the weekends of not being able to like do anything or uh, just be at home or because he's
Yeah.
sobering up or he was drunk or anything like that. So eventually, I that whatever anger or frustration I had with them, it ended because once you get to a certain age, you start realizing, maybe he just you try, you just try really hard. 3 kids, no, 5 kids now, but it's not easy.
Well, I mean,
So
look at you. You got your girlfriend and she's got a family. You
mhm,
just get thrown into a ready-made family. What do you do? I got 3 kids myself, 2 of which are twins.
yeah,
I wasn't ready for to go from one child to 3. What do you do?
mhm.
You
Yeah,
lose your mind, and sometimes, you
you
help
lose
yourself out to calm down a
a
little bit.
little
You
bit.
know what
A
I
little bit.
mean? But it brings up a good question, and it was something we were talking about before the show when we were sitting down, just yakking a little bit. Um, how do you handle being in a ready-made family? Like you kind of came into this just willy-nilly. Now you've got a
Mhm.
stepdaughter out of nowhere. Boom!
Yeah.
Now you're a dad.
Mhm.
How you handling that? You doing okay with that?
I'm gonna be honest. It's not easy. I think, in my perspective, I'm handling it well, but there's times where I slip because I come from my parents were really they were a structured kind of discipline. Get your work done, be respectful, say the whole etiquette thing. Having etiquette as a kid, dressing up on Sundays and sir and madam and all of that. So when it came to discipline, there was a lot of yelling, sometimes the spanking, stuff like that. So as I'm now that I'm a dad, that out the window.
Yeah.
That old the old regimen, the old way of parenting that I had it's structured in my mind, the rules and follow rules and get this and the rewards and all of that. That discipline part all that had to get
Mhm.
out of the way. I had to write a new script because now I had to learn from a child that's developing herself. Not
Yeah.
my blood. She's a teenage, so she's a female. She's a teenager. So it's hard. It's not harder. Just you have to be more. You have to be a little bit less tough with girls than with guys. If I
Yeah.
had a boy, I don't know. It would probably be different, but I think I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I think I've developed a relationship with her that has made her really say, okay, this guy's here for me. He's not just gonna be here with my mom and then leave.
Right.
So I think that as a child, she probably made sure that I wasn't gonna do that. Like
Sure.
just being stern a little bit and being at first, being
Dude,
uh,
you're preaching to the choir, George.
yeah.
I came from an abusive family growing up. My dad would whoop me for I didn't put the clothes from the washer into the dryer. I was 16. He'd take the belt to my back. You know what I mean? It was tough. Um, and I found it very difficult to break that cycle.
Mhm.
Now, never hit my kids, but I was so quick to anger, like you. Like I think I identify with that when you said that. You like before the show we were talking. The littlest thing can set us off because there's no respect. Even as something as weird as, and it's not their fault, but something as minute as I didn't like what you did with the mashed potatoes tonight. It's like I worked hard on that shit. How dare you not? Let's take a breath, push it
Mhm.
down. It's not his fault. He's a child. They speak their mind, and that's what they're supposed to do. We raised them to do that.
Mhm.
But we're so I get it, man. I get it. So this is kind of like the meat of what I wanted to get to. Because we were talking and I ask my guests to be as honest as possible. Um, Sometimes I wonder if this, like yourself, is a cause of some of that quick to anger. Is it a case of nature versus nurture, where that's how we were brought up, or is this in our DNA,
Mhm.
or is it what we were trained to? You know what I mean? Um, what have you? Because we're both married to very smart women. In fact, our wives work together.
Yes,
They're psychologists. I can't say
very
where they
smart.
work, but they work. They're very smart women. So they have a tendency to make, I'm sure yours as well, make us look at ourselves from a different point of view. Um, Being a psychologist, they know the mind, they know the questions to ask us, they know how to make us look introspectively on ourselves. What are you finding with yourself with all of this? Are you finding a root cause of your anger? Because I know for me, it came from the abuse I suffered as a child.
Yeah.
And like you, children are seen, not heard. You step out of line, you get a smack. You spill a Coke at a restaurant. It wasn't that I spilled the Coke, it was that I embarrassed my father and I get a backhand right there at the fucking table.
What are you doing?
You know, oh, you just smack right there. I'm crying out of my. What are you finding? Do you think it came from were your parents strict with you, like that strict that you think it developed in you?
We got the belt. We never got a hand over the face. We got my mom would always pull our ear,
Oof.
right here that hurt.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, like if you didn't listen, if she was telling you something right there. Once you got that, it's like okay, okay. The belt.
The
We never
chancla?
got la chancla, a vara, which was a piece of stick, a branch, and then just
Yep.
a couple
Oh, we
whips,
got
and
the stick.
we got the stick. So it makes you a little bit fearful. I think I attribute fear because of the spankings and the getting in trouble to my decision making now. Like as an adult, I don't go into things and like, yeah, let's do it. No, I think about it too much, and now I'm like, okay, before we get in trouble, let's see what are we doing here. So my
Does-
upbringing
Doesn't
set
that
me
keep us
back.
out of trouble though?
I'm sorry.
Doesn't that thinking keep us out of trouble?
It does, but it also keeps you out of trying new things. Like you get stuck on the just this is me. I want to stay right here, and I don't want to get out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
But that's what life is. If you don't grow, if you don't get out of what you're used to, then you'll never know if you're good at what it is you're trying to get. Like if your goal is to become a better parent, but yet no, this is my paradigm. She has to be this way. She has to do, or the person has to be this way. It's not going to work. You're always going to be in a battle with the child because that's not the way this child might learn or that child learns. There's ways they learn. They'll listen, but you, as an adult, I think you have to have. That's why I threw my paradigm, my script out the window. Whatever I thought was a good parent, the yelling and like the structure and like do this, brush your teeth and go to bed and all that. It's just rules that you want to see done, but the child doesn't concentrate on, oh, I got to get it done perfect because no. So
That's not in their mindset.
no.
I asked
So,
my kid, it frustrates me. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I got to say it.
no, you're good.
I asked, hey, just we have a hardwood living room floor. Sweep the floor. And then you look in the corner and there's a whole pile of just dust and shit that didn't get got.
Yeah,
It's like, how do you not see this?
exactly.
Or
See
pick
those.
that, or the other day somebody dropped a napkin on the floor. And then my other son walks through and steps on the napkin. I was like, did you not see that you stepped on it? Pick it up.
Yeah,
You
those
know what I
little
mean?
things.
And I just want to be, I want to Three Stooges. I'm just,
Yes, sir.
I don't want to
Because
be that. You got to break that cycle.
yeah, you do, because if you go back kind of and you regress, like if you start telling your parent it's your fault and this, it doesn't help, because they'll come back, they're old, they're gonna tell you, hey, you know what, you guys were hard, we tried. And that's the kicker right there. When you hear that from them, then you're just like, oh, fuck,
but at the
you
other
start
end,
getting into that whole like, fuck, maybe I wasn't I wasn't as helpful.
no, because you got to remember, and this is where I was going with this, is even our parents are two fucked up people. Nobody's ready for kids. I don't care who you are. Nobody is ready for kids. And then we come along and we forget that our parents were people in their 20s with hopes and dreams, or in their teens with hopes and dreams and visions of the future. We come along, those hopes and dreams don't go anywhere. And then I didn't realize that until I was about this age.
Mm-hmm.
I have the opportunity to be able to do the podcast and all the things I do because I have an amazing wife who allows, time and freedom to do this stuff. But shit, man, my parents, they didn't plan on me coming along and being a little asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And we screw up their lives, and we're the same way now.
Yeah.
We're doing this, and our kids are going to be the same shit. They're right now, they're in my daughter's 13. She's got hopes and dreams for the future. And one day maybe I have a ground kid, and she has to ground herself a little bit from those hopes and dreams, and it changes who you are as a person, because deep down inside, you really want to pursue this stuff, but you got to take care of those kids. That's what I'm learning.
It's to allow them to build some characters. All this stuff we're talking about, I've learned it right here, like in this relationship. Like
I'm gonna tell you, I know your girl. We were in a play together here in town. Wonderful, smart girl. I also know your stepdaughter.
mm-hmm.
She used to come to the rehearsals and whatnot. Again, brilliant girl, smart. You're a lucky man, dude. You got a beautiful family. You got to take care of that, right?
I gotta tattoo that, because sometimes I forget that I am. And back to the whole ending the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I can tap into the whole idea of why we are so selfish sometimes, and then you rely sometimes on little things like this to kind of brew and fuel the trauma. And then I fall in this trap that I'm not worthy, I'm not confident, nobody loves me. So, and then that fuels and triggers my emotion towards other people and say, I'm not this, I'm not that, you don't even deserve me, I shouldn't be here. And instead of being helpful, it just to them it becomes exhausting. It's like you keep saying the same thing when you're not. We love you. So when you get those, you're a lucky man, you should embrace it. And that's where I have my trouble feeling like that. Like, I know I can be there. There's different variations of George options. So one time I'll be this guy, and then I'll be this guy, and then I'll be that guy. So I have to find which George is the ideal one I want, because if I don't, then I'm gonna keep falling in that there's that cycle where you just loop. It becomes a pattern, and then your narrative, all these things I've learned in this relationship about how you have to get away that from that negativeness that you fall in, that will mean that I fall into all the time, that I'm not worthy or I'm not enough.
So first off, where does that "I'm not worthy" come from? Because it sounded like you've always been supported. Hey guys, just a pause in the show while I say thank you. Thank you for watching, supporting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click that button down there. And if you want to be a guest on the show, hit us up. It's behindthepintshow@gmail.com. Send us a message. Let us know you're interested. I'd love to have you as a guest. So get a hold of us. Again, thank you very much for watching. Let's get back to the episode.
So it's gonna be, I think, vulnerability, spicy, because when you're vulnerable as a man, you have no choice but to cry, or at least say things that you don't want to share because you may think that, oh, I'm a man. I'm not gonna say that shit. But in a retreat, because we were in a program because of Olivia, she has a few conditions, she takes medication and has her developmental ways are a little different than any normal child.
She's got some
So
challenges, yes.
she's got some challenges. So me and Kendra, we were uh, the program allowed us as parents to go to only parent retreats, and we had a retreat on in, I think it's in Wairika. It was a little cabin area out there, beautiful place, and they group you up with parents. How's it going? And then and you start like looking into each other, and that whole of realizing who what it is to raise an adopted child brought it to perspective. Like it literally clicked in, because he puts in, the teacher puts in thoughts about how would you feel if you're 5 years old, or you're 3 years old and you're left alone and you have drug parents, and you have no choice but to cry. Just the saddest thing ever.
But you almost have to reflect on your own life at that point too,
Yeah,
because you almost went through that at the same age. When
yeah,
am I going to see my mom and dad?
yep. So my vulnerability came that day. I didn't realize that I used this same story I told you in that setting, in that group, and you cry.
Of course.
You start to you become vulnerable, and then that deep breath you take, that like of letting go, that little, it feels like you have something right here.
The
You have
lump.
that little lump in your throat. You see so many men doing that, like and it makes you, you know what? It doesn't make you weak. It just makes you stronger,
Dude,
because
it,
you
you recognize your emotions.
you
You have to. Of
recognize that you men cry too. So
course,
shit.
dude. You know, Yusuf, our producer, and I were talking one day, and he's like, "How's it going?" And my son was going through something very serious. And I told him, man, there are some days that I just go into the bathroom and just have to sit and let some tears out. I mean, if not, what other release is there? Being mean?
Yeah,
No, if you
it is.
bottle that shit up, then you become worse than the problem you're trying to solve, you
Or
know?
yeah, or you
So
shut
I mean,
down.
I don't think of a single man I know that doesn't at least, try to get his emotions out and cry. I think it's completely normal. But societies, and I don't think it comes from modern society. I don't think it comes from too far in the past. It's that 50s and 60s. We went through World War II. You don't cry. That's
Mhm.
when I think it really showed up, to the detriment of so many men. It's
Yeah,
true. I mean, we need to cry, dude. I cry all the time. Not all the time. I'm not a crybaby, but you know
yeah,
what I mean. When
yeah.
emotions bubble and it's time to let them out,
You
you got
have
to
to
let them
let
out.
them know, even if
And the
it's
funny thing is, and I think you'll agree, sorry to cut you off, buddy, but our wives, both being psychologists, understand that that's healthy and allow us to do that without chastising us. You
because
know,
it goes both ways. It's when my situation, when she hears me talking like that, the old George of like, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not, it's just like, you're stop building that narrative of you. It's like, that's not you.
yeah.
And so you have to, that's when you sometimes you have to literally just be vulnerable to the max and just, cry it out and let it out. What's fucking bothering you? So
Yeah.
that if you don't, and you, like you said, you keep it here, then it's always gonna build that lump and lump and lump, and just eventually just gonna clog it up. That you're gonna explode, and you don't want to do that. For in my perspective, I don't, because I've done that before, like to show that angry drunken side of like I'm being disrespected, and it's like a snowball effect that it's one thing and then another and another, and it just builds, and you create this big old ball. Eventually, the only way it explodes is when you explode. You just you're angry, or or you get in trouble, you go to jail, or you get a DUI or whatever,
Yep.
and
Yep.
those are the if you say, yeah, that's nothing that has recently happened, but I think back in the day we were so used to that. Don't cry. Why are you crying? Like you're a kid, you're a boy, you're a man. Stop crying. Don't show any emotion. What are you, a little girl? All those little things kind of like push you away from like, all right, I'm not gonna cry,
Right.
I'm not gonna cry, but you
But it's
have
also finding a balance between the anger and the sadness.
it
There's got
is,
to be a middle point where we can be normal. You know what I mean? But coming from what I think you and I both have come from, man, that's a hard middle ground to find. If I get angry, I get angry.
yeah,
If I get sad, I start this spiral of like you, not good enough. Everything's coming down on me. It's my fucking fault. I'm a piece of shit.
that's
Before
exactly
long, I'm on the floor like I don't know
what
how the fuck to handle. You know what I mean? It's completely normal. But how do you teach our children, your children, how do we teach our kids not to go through the same process? What's the awakening as a child that a child needs? What do you think you could have gotten as a child that would have changed your motivation today, even
most.
still going through the same circumstances?
I think communication, like if I know parents never use that, they just like, this is what's happening, shut up, like
Mm,
we're not talking about this. I think as a kid, if instead of like, this is happening, don't worry about it, we're doing this, it would have been cool for our parents to talk more about what's going on. Like, so that as a kid, you don't just hide, you don't just shut up, I wish back in the day. I wish I could have helped my parents a lot more than what I did. Where it came to communicating with them, like, why am I getting hit every other day? Or that probably would have avoided me getting in so much trouble, like in school, or not doing my work, or not giving a fuck, or I don't care about it. Like there was times where I was a hoarder at home. I was like I was single, no job, no nothing. I was just waking up, smoking, taking my brother to work, coming home, chilling, watching TV. My mom, sweeping, cleaning, cooking, all of that, and me, I'm on the couch sleeping, not
well,
giving a
you go.
fuck.
It's a
And
that's
so
classic depression, no?
yeah, and
I
it
mean,
was just childish. It was just selfish shit that I could have woken up from it. It's just that whole mode of I don't care. If you go through it, okay, cool. But you have to get out of it because it's sad. It's really sad to just have your brain just melt and just sit and
yeah.
no growth, no progress, no nothing. It was just yeah. It was um it was really, for me, it was something to turn it around. Like, hey, man, you need to turn this around, or come on, look at your mom. Stuff like that. That made it
Right.
seem like I needed to get on some kind of fucking plane, and just like something that would just jet fuel me there. Like, just let's go.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was lagging. I was lagging in 20, 21, 22 years old, no career, no thoughts about a goal, no money, shit like that, no car. So I was just like, nope, you have to get out of it. And then
So, what got you off the couch and working and back into regular society? What
my
got you
dad,
normal?
my
Your
dad,
dad.
yeah, my
Did he
dad
grab
was
you by the
like,
neck and say, "Knock this shit off"?
yeah, it's like, what the fuck? What are you doing, man? I need your help. You need to come to work. And what are you doing with your life? And it wasn't him drunk. It was him when he was sober. Like when he was just
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, man, you need to help me out here, bro. You're the eldest one. What are you doing? It's me and your mom. Like we're fuck our salaries. So it just like the bills and little things like that. I think once I realized that, okay, yeah, let me let me get out of this. Let me get out of this rut.
Kind of popped you
And
out
then
of it.
slowly, because if you don't, you're always going to stay at zero. And then that's the biggest thing for me. It was the getting that first step towards progress. Like
Sure.
that was the like probably the hardest part is I knew I could do it. Now it's just why did I fall so far behind? And then you just bounce back up. He was the one, pretty literally, just get off your ass. I have a job for you. Let's go. And to
Beautiful.
this day, I can't. I thank my dad for because if it wasn't for him, his resiliency and like him teaching us how, I wouldn't be the kind of electrician I am right now.
And look at you. You're an electrician. Great family. Beautiful family. Like I said, I love your wife. Your daughter's awesome. Like I met her a couple of times. She's great. Um, you get to hang out over where I work every now and then and have one, and eat some of my food. And life could be worse now. But I guess my last question as we start to wrap this up because we're getting a little low on time
Mhm.
is if you start to notice these trends in your stepdaughter that you've been following, like the anger or the quick to whatever, what advice do you give her to calm down at this point, like to normalize herself?
We use a lot of the 3D breaths. Take your breaths, relax. Uh, I think her seeing my behavior when I get angry, I kind of mirror or sometimes fake it. I know she's in the room, so
Mhm.
Me and my wife will talk about like, well, why is she like this? I don't get it. And even I know she's listening to us, so we kind of work it out. Like we
Sure.
work out what is it that's bothering us, and let's work it out. Let's talk about it. And I think that right there is the biggest example I can give her is to learn how to talk to someone or learn how to talk to your parents about any issue that you have. So for her, it's really hard. She'll probably lie to us if we tell her, "Did you do this?" Yeah, I did. But in reality, she didn't. So the behaviors that she used to do a lot of, she has a little bit of trouble still, you know. But we're
Yeah,
working through it, and I think the biggest help that I can give her is to show her how bad I can be so that she doesn't fall for that. She doesn't
I can
go
dig that.
and find someone the same way. Like don't
Yes.
don't fall for this. This is unhealthy. Like
Right.
whatever anger or screaming or anything like that. I always apologize the next day, and uh, so with it takes a little bit of it takes a little bit of patience. I think spicy. The biggest thing is patience because if you have no patience and you have to get this list of chores done, you're gonna lose the
No.
battle.
Yeah.
You lose the battle all the time because you're expecting this list to get done in 4 hours when your child's like, huh? It's like, what
I
do you
get
want
it.
me to do? So I think the patience out of everything that I've dealt with and the paradigm and the old rule setting and discipline and all that, I've patience. It's like the number one because I'm helping a she's a developing teenager and
Yeah.
I'm here to watch her development. Yeah, exactly. I mean, have them all
I've
right
got one
here.
myself. She's
I
13. It's like Madonna me. What happened to my
got,
5-year-old sweet? I'm gonna go color, What?
yes, sir. It's an everyday thing, and it builds resiliency. Like
Right.
I can't. I think yesterday I used the words I quit because she doesn't listen to me, and I'm texting her, "How come you don't listen? You don't do this. You don't do that." And you realize it, man. That like this ain't working, George. You need to find whatever is frustrating you, get it out, and then talk to the child because it's no big deal. She doesn't brush her teeth or she doesn't do her chores or shit like that. If you think about it, it's not a big deal.
Right.
She'll eventually do it. Let's say if she doesn't do it in the morning, she'll probably find the time. Well, you know what? I'll do it at night. And then there's their anger for what? For
Right.
nothing.
For nothing.
Because she didn't do it at 7 a.m. George. No. So yeah, that's I think that's the biggest. a key word would be patience for me, and then I'm showing her that whatever behavior that I'm doing wrong, that
Mhm.
it's not cool. It's not. I don't want her to eventually get to that point, because there's times where we go back and forth, like
Of
she'll
course,
yell, I'll yell, she'll yell, I'll yell, and then it's a yelling game instead of a race,
nothing gets done,
and nothing gets done.
and you both end up having a good long hate. You know,
Yeah, for like a week.
it's true for as long as it takes, a week, a day, it doesn't matter. But I we don't need to do that to our kids, right?
No.
Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you what, this has been something special because you are one of the few guests that I've really connected with on a personal level in the background. Like we kind of both have the same kind of upbringing, the belt,
Mhm.
um, quick to anger, and man, you actually made me think about a few things myself, like give me some introspection. And that's why I do the show as well, is not only to educate our viewers about you, but I learned some shit too. Who knew?
Yeah,
So
I tapped
thanks,
into
man.
some.
I I'm really happy that you came on.
Me
Let's
too.
meet at the
Yeah,
pub and have a beer together soon.
for sure.
All right, man.
Salud, man.
All right. Salud, my friend.
Thanks again.
Have a good one.
Have a good
And that,
one.
my friends, is the last sip from behind the pint. Thanks for joining us today. Keep your spirits high, your pints full, and until next time, the bar's closed.